Hi, how are you doing today? We have a great offer for you that I think you're going to love. If you comment keyword below, you're going to get a free keyword analysis and sales projection on the potential of your product on Amazon. Okay, I got that out of the way. I think we're done here. Just kidding. I'm Ryan Flanagan. I'm the CEO of Nuance Media. This is Cyrus. Cyrus, you want to give a quick introduction?
Sure. My name is Cyrus. I'm an Amazon expert. I had my own company for a while now. I consult other companies and kind of working in the space for about 6 years. And it's never a dull day in this space.
And just a quick overview, Nuance Media sold roughly over $150 million of products online. Amazon e-commerce, that's our jam. That's what we really dig. And we're going to be talking about really kind of 5 questions to ask your Amazon service provider, be it a consultant, a marketing expert, or anything like that, before you give them a single penny. This is something that we actually get a lot of people coming in and talking to us and saying, wow, I wish I wouldn't have spent so much money on somebody without qualifying them or vetting them. So we wanted to come up with some questions to ask so you guys could ask that, make sure you get the right provider if you're looking at hiring a provider. And then, kind of dig right into the content here and say, well, what's the first question you should ask of an Amazon provider, and before you really engage with them. And the number one is, how soon can I begin to see results in my Amazon account? That's really important. It's really, if it's going to be 3 years before you see any traction on this, then that's two. What's the importance of this, and can you kind of give us some background?
Sure thing. So sorry, my connection's cutting out a little bit.
Yeah, your connection. Stop, but you're back
now. One of the things I love about the Amazon space in general is that the feedback loop is so much shorter than really anywhere else in e-commerce. So you can conceivably see really amazing results even within the first month. But realistically, you have to give it at least 2-3 months to kind of get some, to build some momentum up, and really to see what all's happening within the account. All the investments being made.
Cyrus, maybe we lost me too. All right, there you are, Cyrus.
Yeah, sorry about that. Let me just double check to see what okay, my connection should be good.
This is the beauty of Facebook Live. All right, go for it.
Give my router a little jostle. See
just throw it up against the wall. That's really some of the best practices with it.
The beauty of it is that the feedback loop is so short inside of Amazon. You can start to see some positive results within 2 weeks, within a month, but realistically, in order to build momentum, give it at least 2-3 months, because there are a lot of decisions that need to be made. There's a lot of actions that need to be taken that may not really take hold until the 2nd or 3rd month.
That makes a lot of sense. And also the answer that you're looking for here is honestly, it depends. I mean, what are you looking at with this? Am I doing a fresh setup and I don't have any content? I don't have my product lines put together. I don't know my product families. I don't know really anything. Or are you looking at optimizing something that's already established and how quickly you can see some results? So Cyrus, and it depends on velocity too. So Cyrus, what are the key things when you're planning and you're talking to a partner? How long do you typically tell them before they can see results? Other than it depends.
Well, to build off your "it depends" answer, well, yeah, it's you kind of nailed it on the head. If they have if I'm going in and there's an existing infrastructure in place that is solid and can kind of, it's just a matter of making some adjustments and tweaks. It can be within that first month, provided they're in a less competitive category, or they have the margin to be able to sort of justify the going fairly aggressively with advertising. Those do play a role. Whereas, if it's completely from square one, or it's a very competitive space, I know talk about fidget spinners before, and at this point last year, fidget spinners were the big thing. I mean, it takes a little bit of time to go up to bring a product up against the competition, and head to head against the competition in some super competitive space like that. So it depends.
But somebody should be honest with you, and that's why you're asking that question. Is because somebody needs to give you a real answer, and if they say, "Oh, it's 3 weeks every time," then they're full malarkey. That's the real level that you're looking at. Cyrus, just to give you a heads up, you're a little bit. You might want to adjust your camera down a little bit more, a little low or a little high, I should say. A little bit more if you don't mind.
Sure.
We should have probably done this pre-roll. Anyway, we love you guys. We're here with you. All right. So question number 2, the next thing that we want to talk about is there a chance that something may go wrong, and we wouldn't really be able to be successful with this on Amazon? So Cyrus, I want to let you handle this. Is there a chance that something could go wrong?
Right, and it's actually the answer is yes. I mean, the Amazon Marketplace, in addition to Amazon itself being very sort of unpredictable, it's a highly competitive space, and either something goes wrong or doesn't necessarily pan out with the marketing, so we need to shift gears and figure something else out, or let's say, for example, that you have a product that, and I've seen this happen before, that there's a knockoff product that files an IP infringement claim against you, and your listing it shut down for a couple of days. I mean, there are things that just completely halt any sort of progress for the time being, and it's the nature of what goes on there. Or like Amazon's algorithm, like earlier this year, Amazon's entire search results page went down for 2 days, and like people lost like tons and tons of sales. And it's just the nature of what happens inside of a highly dynamic place like that.
Yeah, we had a client that we were working with, and not getting into too many details, but it was a huge spike, and we had the Chinese coming in with a whole bunch of counterfeit material, and this was a product that, if you did not use correctly, could actually do bodily harm. So we had to deal with Amazon not letting anybody into this market 3 weeks before a big event happened, having the proper thing saying, no, we're certified, we're legit, but you should really watch out for the people who are basically doing knockoffs and things like that. So Amazon's a free market. Amazon controls the whole thing, and you have to be pretty careful because things can go wrong on Amazon if you're not really careful with it. So that's the next thing. So somebody should be honest with you on that. The third question that you really want to ask here is, what do I need to do from my end to ensure great chance of success? So it takes 2 to tango. It takes a little bit more for people to be engaged and active, and this is about a relationship, building a relationship with a service provider, and they definitely need to do their job, but you need to do your job as well. So Cyrus, you want to kind of take this one away?
Sure. So one of the big things is that there's two big components I see that are the biggest difference makers in a successful or not successful engagement. And when you have clarity of mission and you really know what it is that you want to achieve, and you are able to sort of steer the ship and like give guidance as to like what you want and what you're comfortable doing with your brand, that's extremely important to us as service providers to be able to like, we can get behind that. It's not that we're making guesses that may potentially be wrong guesses and stuff. That sort of guessing factor is a little bit tough, and kind of makes, it doesn't make for the most confident sort of decision making. And then the second thing is also being willing to invest, especially in Amazon, it requires a good marketing investment. It's not just slap up a listing and let it sell. So you need to do both, right? You need to know where you want to go, but you also need to know what it's going to take and be willing to invest what it takes to get there.
That's a really good point. Sorry, continue.
No, that's it.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like for example, if you don't have, a good example of this is if you don't have photo images of your product, you either need to provide the product to your service provider so they can do it. Images are really important. That's something that we've really talked about a lot on this Facebook Live in the past. But you need to be able to provide us with the materials in order to help you be successful. And to do that right, there's a lot of ways to do Amazon wrong. There's something like 3,000 new Amazon sellers sign up every day. And I'd say 99.8 or 0.9% of those people are not doing it appropriately or right. So you want to be the top, 0.01% and do it right. And if you do that, if you take the time, if you invest, if you build up into it, then you're pretty much guaranteed success. Would you agree with that, Cyrus, or do you have anything else?
No, for sure. I mean, there are certain things that, like, if you do them in a systematic, methodical way, you will catapult to the top no matter what inside Amazon. And it's just a matter of like doing the right things and doing them in the right way. And there's not too much to it, but it is about just doing it the right way.
Yeah, we got Cecilia here saying that 3,000 new sellers a day is pretty crazy. Yeah, and that's a rough number. We're getting the top number off my head, but it's right around that. So one of the things that we want to do, again, we featured this at the beginning, but comment keyword below. You'll get a free keyword Amazon keyword analysis, as well as potential revenue projections for your product line. And we can reverse engineer Amazon and come up with your product's potential revenue based on the keyword that you give us and those type of things. So comment keywords below and you'll get that. The other thing when you're looking at this question is what can you do to make sure that sorry, I missed my notes here. What do I need from my end to ensure the greatest chance of success? If a provider says, hey, they'll handle everything, they're lying to you. You need correspondence. You need to sign off on things. A good service provider will definitely guide the ship. That's why you're doing business with them, for their expertise. But they're going to need your feedback and they're going to need your sign off on things. So that's the thing that you really want to look at when vetting what the answer is from these people, that they're transparent and real with you. Okay, question number 4 is what's the most important thing I can do to ensure you succeed in help? Or did we just do that one?
It's kind of a build off of the previous question, but like it
is, yeah.
The most important thing you can do is provide timely feedback. So, being able to, like you were saying, like, if we as service providers provide something or do something, you need to give the sign off, you need to give the suggestions, and you as the brand owner need to give your input, so that whatever is being created is consistent with what's in line with your vision. And that's the biggest part of it, where providing timely feedback is probably the most important component that you need to provide on your side.
Yeah, and that is the most important thing. We work, with a number of partners, and a lot of our partners honestly don't have that much time. They've hired us to make them money online, and we need to streamline their operations to basically make it very simple. But you do need sign off on different things. You do need to make sure that you give feedback. So the most important thing that we typically try to get from our clients is feedback and approval so we can move forward. You do have to have, and we try to keep this very limited, but you do have to have some bandwidth. If I'm waiting on an approval or your provider's waiting on an approval for something for a month, you're responsible in order to give that feedback, or you're not helping yourself be successful. Okay, I hope that makes sense. All right, question number 5 here is, when we look at question number 5, it's what planning or strategy exercises will be required to get up to speed? Cyrus, you want to take this one?
Can we say it depends again? Is that a
So go for it.
There's a set of things that are going to be pretty consistent and standard regardless of where you are in the process. I mean, if you're if you already have a product, you already have it nailed down, and you have existing copy and things. It's just more of planning out what sort of keywords to target, how to set up the advertising campaigns. I mean, you're kind of further down in this sort of these sequential steps. Whereas, if you're starting up an entirely new line of business with unsure expectations about what your margin might be, then there might be some planning around, okay, how does the profitability look with FBA, without FBA, those types of things. So, it depends on where you are in your business. But there are, some of the big core components are, we need to nail down how much money you're going to make with each sale, the sale of each product, what types of keywords are most relevant and that you will probably get your sales from, what types of advertising we're going to do, what types of assets we're going to be able to create, both at the brand level and for the products. Those are the types of questions that we end up tackling.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If any company that you engage with, if they're not doing an audit or an analysis or a plan of action, because if you're starting at the get-go, you need to lay the foundation and know where you're going and what you're targeting. If you've already been up and going for a while, you need to do a review of the account and find out where the opportunities are. And maybe, honestly, you might be doing everything right. And if you discover that while you're the agency or service provider, you would come back to the client and say, hey, it looks like you're doing everything right, and this engagement isn't worth it for you. That's not frequently the case, but that's happened before. So what you want to look at with this is every company should at least do an audit or an analysis of some sort and then lay out a plan of action. If they're not doing that, if they're coming to you and saying, okay, it's $3,500 a month, let's go, then you're in trouble, right? Because they haven't done any estimation. They don't know. They can't give you a timeline on when you'll see results. They can't tell you these type of things. If it's too simple to be true, it probably is true. Okay, the next question that we have, the next kind of bonus question, because we've gone through our 5 questions, but we wanted to throw a few other questions in there as bonus questions. And I know this is a key area that Cyrus really likes to talk about, but like, which key performance indicators does a team typically focus on for a client's work, and how will you report the progress month over month? So honestly, KPIs, what are they drilling into? What KPIs are important? So Cyrus, what should our viewers really be looking at when they ask this question?
My favorite question. It does depend on your goals in the business, but most likely when you start working with, you start working and growing your Amazon sales, the biggest thing, of course, is how fast are you growing top line? What's your month over month growth rate? And then boiling that down, how are you growing? So, what products you're selling? Is it just one product that's kind of carrying the rest of the growth, or is it a fairly even effort? So that's one big part of it. So those are kind of the KPIs of the overall growth KPIs, but then digging into it about how efficient that growth is. So, your advertising cost of sale, more importantly, what I like to call the blended day cost, which is the the overall cost of advertising over your overall top line. Seeing, the KPIs of seeing where you're ranking for some important keywords. These are all things that in every 3 to 4 weeks you start to see major changes, and so that's kind of the reporting frequency, like a monthly reporting frequency. But the big questions that usually need to be answered are, how fast are we growing, and how efficiently are we growing? And the KPIs are kind of more focused around that area.
You can ask to see some of their reporting too, what they've done, what that looks like. That's pretty important. Some of that might be logging into the back end, but any company that's worth its salt will have better reporting and ways to show that in order for you to really display and look at that. So that's something I definitely do, is ask to see examples of their reporting and really make sure that they're focused on your margin, right? Like, what margin are you making? Because it's easy to make revenue and make no margin. and then really, the blended A costs and these other types of things, kind of the holistic view of Amazon. Okay, and we have the last question here. And this last question is, who will be managing your account and executing the work? You see this in the digital industry a lot, that you sign up, it sounds great, they're relatively inexpensive, you can't believe the type of deal you're getting on it, and then you sign up and then you don't have a dedicated account manager, you have to chat for support, you don't have regular meetings, the person that sold you on this has nothing to do with the people you're actually interacting with who are executing for you. These are things that you really want to be hesitant about. It's pretty easy to bait and switch people in sales, unfortunately. So you want to make sure that the people that you're working with are really the people that you're going to be involved in, that you have a dedicated account manager, that they're reliable, that they'll answer a phone if you call them, that they'll respond to an email within 24 hours, just some of these base things. Cyrus, do you have anything else to add to that?
Yeah, and I mean, it's a really important piece, because especially given what can happen inside of Amazon, the difference a day makes, really. It's really important to really know and have that accountability structure in place to be like, okay, something went wrong, something went right. I know I can ask Ryan for this, and it's really important to know you have like a single point of contact or focal point for the support that you're getting.
Right. And that's really important, particularly kind of with what we touched on earlier, is sometimes things go wrong on Amazon. So you need that crisis support when that happens. Cyrus, you want to kind of give them a background on what crisis support might be?
Oh, goodness. So there are two examples that come to mind. Like recently there was one company who a competitor product, and this is a total knockoff, started listing and sending in inventory underneath their product catalog or underneath their ASIN. And there's a lot of customer complaints, and Amazon shut the product down. And this was a very high grossing product. I mean, this is like easily 6 figures a month for a single SKU.
Wow.
And so this thing shut down, and it took nearly a week and a half just to figure out what was happening. And then it required a full review of all the different, where the inventory was being stored in like 30 different warehouses. I mean, it was a total mess. So that's one. And then the second one was, another time there was another product that Amazon had kind of unilaterally classified it as an oversized product, which completely killed the margins on it. And yeah, both of those times, it's just one of those things where you just roll up your sleeves and you go figure out what's going on and try to. In the end, Amazon will make the right decision, but you have to kind of push and nod and nudge to really work with them. And there are things that you can do, or the things that you and I have learned along the way that help make it faster and make it less of a freak out process. And yeah.
Okay, well, that's all we have time for. I really appreciate all the questions that our viewers sent in. These were really kind of 5 with 2 bonus questions. The top things that you need to ask before you hire an agency or you do anything like that. We're running out of time here. Cyrus, do you have anything else to say to our viewers?
Not really. Good luck.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Cheers.
Thanks.